China's revenues are 132 times more than Bangladesh. Bangladesh has a net export of $24.92 billion. In case of China, it is $1.97 trillion. China is an $8.36 trillion economy, while Bangladesh's economy stands at a mere $24.92 billion. China's purchasing power parity per capita is 4 times more than Bangladesh. Its GDP per capita is 8 times more than Bangladesh. And if we compare the military firepower, Bangladesh is a dot before the mighty Middle Kingdom. But India is a $3 trillion economy and a major power as far as military strength is concerned. If India commits to having Bangladesh's back, the mighty Middle Kingdom suddenly starts looking like, you guessed it right, a paper dragon. And believe me, it's actually happening. Hi and welcome. This is TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group, and I'm your host, Atul Mishra. In this video, I will tell you about Bangladesh's massive jolt to China and India's tacit support to it. Let's begin. The Chinese Communist Party, for the large part of 2020, took the whole world for a ride, and as the countries were busy controlling the pandemic, which spread from Wuhan, China, continued its belligerent actions, debt trapping and wolf warrior diplomacy with least to no consequences. However, now things are changing, and as countries are acting independently, China is finding it difficult to debt trap countries. In the latest, China has withdrawn funding for Belt and Road infrastructure projects in Bangladesh after the recipient country re-evaluated the programs and downwardly revised their costs. After re-evaluating the infrastructure projects, Bangladesh's railway projects, which were being funded by the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative, have slowed down. After the re-evaluation, the Bangladesh government has done cost-cutting and realizing the non-viability of debt trapping Dhaka. The CCP has pulled out of these projects. The fact that Bangladesh was able to take these actions and dispel the CCP pressure tactics, it seems obvious that its larger neighbor, India, has quietly pulled the strings. The Prime Minister's office in Bangladesh advocated lowering rail project prices after re-evaluation assessments for many infrastructure projects were released in October. The Joydepur-Ishwardi dual-gauge double-line rail's estimated $1.045 billion cost was to be cut by 12.91%, and the Akhnora-Sylhet dual-gauge rail's $1.272 billion budget was to be cut by 20.8%. The total savings would be close to $572 million. The Chinese government responded by saying it would not support the Joydepur-Ishwardi double-line project, and contractors for the Akhora-Sylhet dual-gauge project refused to continue their work. Last year, in a testament to India's diplomatic prowess, the Bangladesh government officially cancelled the Sonadia deep-sea port project. The port situated on the Bay of Bengal would have further enhanced China's economic and strategic ambitions, as the paper dragon was keen on both constructing and financing the project. Instead, Bangladesh went ahead to develop a deep sea port at Matarbari, 25 kilometers away from Sonadia, with the help of Japan, which is expected to be functional by 2025. It is pertinent to note that Japan and India share close relations, and India was quite supportive of the Japanese involvement in Bangladesh and has since increased its involvement too, to shadow the Chinese presence. Only a few months ago, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi went to Bangladesh and met his counterpart Sheikh Hasina. During the visit, Modi and Sheikh Hasina vowed to take connectivity between the countries to the next level, calling it connectivity for prosperity. Both agreed to expedite the implementation of the BBIN, Bangladesh-Bhutan-India-Nepal Motor Vehicles Agreement, to improve connectivity and simplify the movement of goods and passengers among the nations. In addition to this, during the delegation level meeting, Modi also handed over a representational item to Bangladesh PM Sheikh Hasina as a symbol of India's gift of 1.2 million COVID vaccine doses. According to the joint statement, Bangladesh has also requested India for favorable consideration in the new connectivity routes proposed by Dhaka, such as allowing land ports of Bhadrapur, Bairagi, Galgalia, Biratnagar, Jogmani, and Birganj, Raxaul to be connected with Banglabandhu, Fulbari, and Birol, Radhikapur by road as alternative routes. Even in March, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met his Bangladeshi counterpart A.K. Abdul Momen and discussed Japan's role as a third country to boost connectivity in the region. In their joint statement, Jaishankar said, "If we can get connectivity right between India and Bangladesh, I can tell you the entire logistics. the whole geo-economics of the region will change. The Bay of Bengal will look very different. He added, both of us believe that this is possible. A lot of our conversation was on this specific subject. We actually feel we should even involve third countries. We talked about Japan as a possibility because both of us have very good relations with Japan, and Japan is involved in connectivity projects in the Bay of Bengal. I would pick connectivity as a big role. All these deliberations between India and Bangladesh mean that Bangladesh has realized that depending on China will compromise Dhaka's geopolitical maneuverability in the region and beyond, making it a colony of China for all practical purposes. On the other hand, the key stipulation of the Chinese funding is that the contractor should be chosen by the Chinese government rather than through an open tender procedure. The Bangladesh government will cover the costs of land purchase, land rehousing, and worker salaries and wages. The Chinese government will cover construction expenditures, which are estimated to be between 80% and 85% of the cost of the entire project. Officials noted that when a contractor is chosen without competitive bidding, costs tend to rise, and the Joybetpur-Ishwari double-line train, which will be built by a Chinese contractor, will cost $7.2 million per kilometer. M. Humayun Kabir, president of the Bangladesh Enterprise Institute and a career diplomat, said, Bangladesh needed to be cautious in taking Chinese loans since many issues remain unclear. He said, China imposes different conditions for different countries in granting loans and expects different returns. He added, China's withdrawal of funds from the projects has no geopolitical reasons, I think, but is more technical. Basically, it was a standard case of China's debt trap diplomacy, and the fact that Bangladesh realized it and felt comfortable as well as confident enough to confront these investments to an extent that China is willing to cancel its funding means that India quietly pulled the strings from behind.